Hello, professor and class, and thank you for joining me. My name is Christopher James Tulane. I'm attending DeVry University. I'm working for my bachelor's degree in science and management with a focus on hospitality. Today, I would like to show you a recipe I worked up for some collard greens. In 1998, I was 15 years old when I tried greens for the first time. I was amazed. I ate 5 plates of just greens. Every time after that, I got really excited whenever I saw or heard of somebody cooking greens. And then I got really disappointed because it never tasted like the greens that Babe Cass cooked in 1998. Just before Christmas in 2022, I decided I would stop wishing and embark on the journey to rediscover the flavor on my own. The day after Christmas, I successfully cooked a batch of collard greens that satisfied my already 24-year-old nostalgia. Now, I would like to share with you the step-by-step procedures that will unlock the magic that lies within this humble plant. Of course, we got the collard greens, some veggie wash. This is optional. So I put more than a half a gallon of water into this pot here. And I added a Corona and a Guinness Draft Stout, along with a stick of butter, a diced onion, at least 2 or 3 cloves of garlic, which I will share with you how to prepare. And all of these seasonings: Lawry seasoned salt, garlic, vinegar, Better Than Bouillon roasted garlic base, and garlic, along with regular salt, blackened seasoning, Old Bay seasoning, table black pepper, fresh ground black pepper, a whole stick of butter, and Better Than Bouillon onion base. Rosie Mays of iHeart Recipes says, for flavor, I also use onions, garlic, jalapeno peppers, and apple cider vinegar. If you don't like or can't have spicy food, omit the spicy peppers. If you want it spicier, add more peppers. Now, when it comes to measuring, I don't really measure as much as I just kind of imagine that I'm sprinkling it across some food, just like you would if you were sprinkling on a plate. But then imagine that your plate's also about that deep, so a little heavier on the sprinkle. But it's not an exact science. You're not going to mess this up. Now, to the important part. Before I get around to showing you how to cook the greens, I figure I'll share with you the garlic. So inside of this garlic bulb is garlic cloves. Now this has a papery layer of skin that you're not going to eat. And then when you bust this apart and you find a bunch of these in there, they also have a papery kind of skin. So what you do is, see, there's a pointy end and there's a not so pointy end that has kind of a nub there. And you're going to cut that little nub off, and when you do, it's going to release the outer skin. You're going to be able to instantly tell the difference between the papery skin and the inside of it. Chop off a little end, and as soon as you do, it releases the outside. And it comes right off. The whole outside comes off. Whatever doesn't come right off, you can still easily recognize if it's stuck to this little clove of garlic. And that right there came right off of this. All I had to do is chop off the fat end first, which is still attached right here. To release the flavor from this and make sure that it gets into the stuff that you cook, you set it on your cutting board and you push your knife flat on it. Now, you should be careful because there is a sharp edge involved there. But if you're not pushing against the sharp edge and you keep your hand off of the sharp edge, you should be okay. Now that I've smushed it, I'm going to just chop it. You can also get minced garlic in little blister packs that keep in the freezer and keep for a really long time. They're very useful. It saves you prep time and it keeps for a long time. Next, we have an incredibly important part. Now, these greens came from the dirt. I got it from Walmart. Also, these are usually like this big. Okay, so I had to get even more greens to make up for the fact that they weren't that big. But to begin with, you always have to buy a lot of these greens because they're gonna shrink. Just for fun, I'll try a little bit of this veggie wash. Although I'm not gonna be doing this to each and every one. Mostly, I'm just gonna be rinsing it and wiping it with my hands. Now with my fingers, I can feel the dirt that would be trapped usually back here. And as I'm rubbing it and rinsing it, I can tell with my hands, with my bare hands, whether it's clean or not. That's important to know. So what I'm gonna do here is rinse this off while I'm rubbing it with my fingers. And then, according to Brandy Crawford of Black People's Recipes, start with picking your greens and removing them from the stem. Fold the leaf in half lengthwise and rip off the stem. Fill a large bowl or your sink with water, or you can use vinegar. From there, load them into your bowl or sink. Use your hands to swish them around. Rub your hands over the actual leaves to scrub the dirt away the dirt. Now, she said use your hands because you can feel what you're doing with your hands. Drain the water and refill. Repeat this process until your water runs clear and you see no dirt in the water. Now, you have to understand that there are different sources for these. And I have seen the greens that she's talking about in giant boxes, and they really are covered in dirt. These greens have been a little bit pre-cleaned. If I did what she told me to do, there would probably be no dirt in the water anyway. So I'm gonna skip a little bit of that and go to the part where she mentioned, this is something that Babe Cass also taught me, and you just fold it in half and rip the stems off. The stem just rips off. All right, start from the top, go down, use the design in your favor. Now when you get to this little guy right here, see, there's still a little bit of a stem there, but it's not a hard stem. So you're gonna take this, and there are multiple ways you can do this. Some people like to chop these into little squares. I like strips. So what they do is they roll it up like this, and then you cut it like this. And then what you get when you're done are strips. Strips of greens. Beth Monsell of Budget Bites says there's no rule how long to cook your greens. You can eat them just after wilting while they're still a vibrant dark green, although they may be more tough. I simmered mine for about 2 hours, at which point they were tender but still had shape. If you let them go even longer, you'll eventually get to that melt in your mouth point. Just keep taste testing along the way until you get to a flavor and texture that you like. I have one more thing to add to that. Think about the fact that you might have leftovers. If you leave a little bit room for more cooking, it won't turn to mush when somebody reheats it in the microwave. So in my pot right now, I have 3 big smoked ham hocks boiling. They've been boiling for at least a few hours now, but they're not falling off the bone yet, which means I have plenty of time to prepare my greens while I'm waiting for the broth to finish. After putting all this in, the main flavor is still the ham hocks. So in conclusion, I would just like to say, if you are ready to embark on this journey, start early so you have plenty of time to boil the smoked ham hocks. Make sure you get all your ingredients together before starting, and don't be too nervous about seasoning it just right. I hope this speech has given you the instruction and confidence needed to create greens at home that taste nothing like greens from a can. Thank you and have a great day.